What's up, CrossBones Nation? This is the newest episode of the podcast, and this podcast is going to be brought to you in affiliation with several companies. So let me just give you a quick rundown of who they are. First off is NatureBox. NatureBox will provide you with snacks right at your front door. Thing I fucking hate more than anything is having to go out to the store and get shit, wait in line, get stuck behind like old people, people talking, people crying, babies crying. So you know what? These guys hook you up and they take care of it, send it right to your house. You go online, it's a membership that you join, you pick the snacks that you want. They got some crazy different types of snacks. Sriracha cashews is a big one. It's always sold out, so if you get on there and you get it, make sure you order them up because they go quick. They got granola, they got peanut butter flavors, they got a whole bunch of different stuff. But it all comes to your house. It's all healthy, it's all good for you, and it'll make sure that you're filled up on healthy food and not Twinkies and fucking, yo-yos and ding-dongs and stuff. But when you're not snacking, you got to eat your meals. You can get that from F3 Foods. F3 Foods is the other one that we do, and that's also a membership plan. But what they're going to do is they're going to send you your meals, your actual breakfast, lunch, dinner. Go online, type in the things you want, type out the things that you don't want, and you know what? They'll put together a meal plan just for you. It'll help you lose weight. It'll help you stay on track all throughout the entire month. Just by going online, this food comes right to your door. You don't have to worry about, again, preparing your meals. They come pre-made. Just got to heat them up and eat them. Great food, great tasting food, and it's good for you. Onnit's got an incredible line of supplements and also help trying to hook you up, and their whole tagline is the human optimization. We got our friends over at DraftKings. You and right into the MMA world. You pick 5 fights on how they're doing. You get points based on if they are aggressive in striking, ring control, all the things that judge a fight is going to be the things that you get points for. So make sure you pick the right fighters, and you could possibly win money along the lines. We got Troxafen. Troxafen is a testosterone booster. It's going to help you out. It's going to boost your free testosterone. It's going to help you increase lean muscle, reduce body fat, and it's going to be giving you energy so that way you can get your workouts in. You can do all the things you need to do, and it's not just outside. It's going to help you inside as well, so that's super important. And then we got Amazon.com. Amazon.com, you can go right to our website and click on the Amazon link. When you go on there, it doesn't cost you anything extra to go and shop through Amazon through the CrossBones website. When you get on there, you just click on there and you do all your shopping, and they give us a cutback from their side of it, not from yours. So it doesn't cost you anything, but it helps us out here with the website and with the podcast. So make sure you click on the Amazon link to give us the information, or to give us the credit that we got there, and then you can do all your shopping, get everything you need, cat litter, CDs, books, everything. So make sure you go to Amazon.com through the CrossBones MMA website. You can go to all these sites through the CrossBones MMA store and affiliate page. But for now, we got a great show for you. We're going to talk about the press conference that happened today. We're going to go over the Broomfield results, Anderson Silva's second test failure. We got the NSAC meeting that happened yesterday, and then we're going to preview this weekend's event with Frank Mir and Bigfoot. So without any further delay, let's start the show. All right, so we got our guys here. We got Eddie and we got Nick. What's going on out there, guys?
Same old, dude. Long day at work. Finally got home, and now I'm exhausted. But I think I'm, I don't know. I think I spent too much time watching that press conference with Dana White and Lorenzo Fertitta. But at least it was way more productive than that stupid meeting with the NSAC yesterday. I don't believe any of those people have an ounce of brain in their head whatsoever. I've never met. They're like the highest paid retards I've ever seen in my life. I'm just saying.
And I gotta agree with that one. That the NSAC meeting was just ridiculous. But we'll get into that a little bit more. But other than that, I'm good. Always enjoying my Wednesday day off and enjoying doing the show.
Yeah, man. I didn't. From what I hear, I didn't get a chance to see the press conference or listen to it. But I saved myself from the horror of going through all that. But we didn't have, from what I understand, we didn't have Don King passing out this time, so there was no comedy relief going on. Yeah, there was just some boring stuff that went on, talking about laptops and tablets and having to explain to the commission what those things are apparently. But we'll get into that a little bit further on. So first off, let's start off with last week. Last week we had the Broomfield, Colorado event, UFC Fight Night, Broomfield, Colorado, which was highlighted by Ben Henderson and Brandon Thatch. Eddie, what do you think about this card, man?
Overall, look, it's one of those cards. People were talking shit about this card. This is what bothers me about people crapping on cards. First of all, it was a free card, and it was actually pretty good for being a free card, in my opinion. So, but there was a lot of good performances and everything, but I'm still kind of not rattled, but I'm still really, really impressed with Benson Henderson and the fact that not only did he show that he's a physically capable fighter and he has a gas tank for as long as you need him to go, but he's a very, 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 very intelligent fighter, and he had the perfect game plan. He executed to perfection in order to pull off his win against Brendan Thatch, who I thought would be dangerous and good enough to knock him out in the first round. I guessed wrong, I guess, or I picked wrong, and that's that's just what Benson Henderson does, put people wrong.
Yeah, and I have to agree with it. It was an awesome card. I didn't end up watching it live, but I did watch the replay, and I enjoyed every single one of these fights, especially the main event, seeing Ben Henderson move up in a weight class and show that he is a force to be reckoned with in any division right now, in the welterweight or his own division. He's a great fighter. He has a cardio for days, and he just picked Thatch apart, and it shows that you don't need PEDs to to be a great fighter.
Yeah, and just a quick rundown. James Montessori, or Moonsari, defeated Cody Pfister by submission rear naked choke in the second round. Zach McCoskey defeated Tim Elliott by unanimous decision. Chaz Kelly defeated Jim Ayers by TKO strikes in round 2. Efren Escudero defeated Rodrigo Lima by unanimous decision, and that was the preliminaries. Then we went to the main card, and we had Ray Borg defeated Chris Kalides by submission, very nice submission, Kimura in the third round. Kevin Lee defeated Michel Prazeres by unanimous decision. Daniel Kelly defeated Patrick Walsh by unanimous decision. Neil Magny continued his winning streak, defeated Kichi Kunimoto by submission or rear naked choke in the third round. Max Holloway defeated Cole Miller by unanimous decision, and of course we just touched on Ben Henderson, rear naked choke Brandon Thatch in the fourth round. But just some quick things. When I was watching the fight, Dan Kelly is a rough dude to watch fighting. He looks like I don't know how old he is, but he's like a 4-time Olympian, 4-time judo champion or something like that. And he's so stiff in the ring. He's so awkward in his stance, his throwing. It's really hard to see this guy as an elite level fighter. And because Patrick Walsh came in a little overweight, and I don't know how much of that weighed in, I feel like Dan Kelly really didn't face a legitimate opponent in Patrick Walsh. But I'll tell you this: when I was watching the fight, in my mind, I thought Patrick Walsh was winning the fight in terms of strikes, in terms of aggression. But every time the little box came up on the bottom of the screen, it said Dan Kelly had more significant strikes, was landing more, was more effective. So it was definitely a very interesting fight to watch in that sense. Neil Magny, just picked apart Kunimoto. That was a great fight to watch. The fight that people had some issues with was the Cole Miller fight with Max Holloway. We had the 2 accidental or incidental headbutts, and Cole Miller was pissed. And you know what? Rightfully so. He got his eyebrow busted open. But here's the thing: when the guys were standing next to each other, that's right where Max Holloway's head level was right at Cole Miller's eyebrow level. The height discrepancy there, actually led to these headbutts while they were clinched and while they were getting close. It was definitely not something that was planned out or was premeditated, as we've seen in other fights. But this was just accidental, and it sucks for Cole. But he fought through it, but it didn't go his way. But as far as Ben Henderson has, without a doubt, always been one of my favorite fighters. He gets a bad rap. He gets the lame prey. He gets the grind him out to close decisions. But when it comes down to it, he's got an incredible skill in game planning. He's very GSP-like in that sense, that he does what he needs to do to win the fight. And he's not worried about, if you're happy with the fight, if I'm happy with the fight. He's worried about keeping that W, keeping his job, and keeping moving on towards the belt. He's a champion in the UFC. He's a champion in the WEC before they got assimilated. And this guy comes and he knows how to fight. And he had a great game plan against Brandon Thatch. He weathered the storm to begin with in the first round, going with the striking, second round striking. But then as Brandon Thatch started to slow down here in the fight, we ended up seeing Ben Henderson take him down, and then we had that beautiful takedown. It might have been in the fourth round, the last round, when he just timed it and it was clean. But the thing I liked about Ben Henderson's takedowns is they were legitimate takedowns. They weren't off the fence, push the guy in, pull him out, and get, sweep a seat. These were center of the ring, full double leg takedowns. This was wrestling at its finest for MMA, and he showed that he is definitely a force to be reckoned with. I think we might see Ben stay at this weight class right now. There's really not much for him to go on in the lightweight division, so this could definitely be a place where he intends to make his home for a little while. What do you think, Eddie?
Here's the thing about Benson staying at 170. I would be all for it, except for the fact that he fought a guy that hasn't fought in a long time and is like anti-ground. Not anti-ground as in he doesn't want to go to the ground. Anti-ground as he doesn't know jack squat about going to the ground. In comparison to a Benson Henderson, who is a legit jiu-jitsu monster. That's his wheelhouse. If Benson Henderson can get anybody to the mat, he would be happy every single fight if he could just get every fight to the mat the entire time. If it could be a jiu-jitsu match, he'd be happy. But Brandon Thatch is a guy that comes in the first round and tries to knock your head off immediately, as quick as possible, and get the hell out of the cage. That being said, unless you're gonna feed Benson Henderson a bunch of low-ranked welterweights, when he said Rory McDonald, I was like, you do know Rory McDonald knows jiu-jitsu. He was at Metamoris, and he held off a really, really good fighter in Metamoris. Okay, so no, I think Benson needs to just be like, hey, take his compliments, take his high fives, and take his ass back to lightweight, because at lightweight he's still a monster. At welterweight, it's gonna depend on the matchup. I think if they had granted him that Rory McDonald fight, which thankfully he didn't, but they didn't, and for other reasons. But I think Rory would have destroyed him, just because Rory's just a 3 times a higher caliber fighter than Brandon Thatch is right now. As far as Brandon Thatch goes, I think this is the best scenario what could have happened to him. He needed to get a loss. He needed to feel a loss in this manner against a former champion to gauge where he's at. All right. Overall, he had a really good fight. He did pretty damn well. First 2 rounds were his. It's just once he got tired, because Benson would just let him swing on him as hard as as heavy as he could. It was like the Rocky 3 scenario. Let him swing himself out, get himself a little tired, and then in the later rounds attack. And that's kind of what Benson Henderson did. Tired him out. By the 4th round, Brandon had nothing left, and Benson took him down on the ground where Brandon isn't as good or even close to it. I think he's a blue belt in jiu-jitsu. He had nothing, and again, don't get me wrong. Brandon he trains in Colorado. He has a gas tank to fight in Colorado, no problem. It's the fact that when you get taken to the ground in the 3rd and the 4th round, and you're really tired and you're not that good on the ground, your heart rate is gonna rise like hell, because there's a legit killer on your back now. So as far as Benson Henderson staying at 170, it depends on the matchups. I think I would love to see him go back up and down every once in a while, depending on how he feels. But I think he should definitely go back to 155 and continue his career there.
Yeah, I think he should do one more fight at welterweight. I like him at this weight. He's a lot faster. He can put on a little bit more muscle and get that little bit more power. I'd like to see him against not a super low ranked welterweight, but like a Kelvin Gastelum, a Matt Brown, a Damian Maia. I want to see him face one of those people, just see what he has in the welterweight division. Because in the lightweight, I don't see him beating a Gilbert Melendez. I don't see him beating a Edson Barbosa. I don't see him beating a Nurmagomedov. I don't see him beating any of those guys. So I think the welterweight, he has a little bit more chance in that division because he is cursed from losing to Anthony Pettis. He lost to Donald Cerrone. I think, give him one more fight in welterweight. Let's see how he does. If he does good, maybe stay in there. If not, then we can talk about him going back to lightweight and hopefully fighting someone else and getting back up to that title shot. But I do like him at welterweight. Yeah, the guys are bigger, but he's a lot faster, and he has the skill to do it and to beat these welterweights. And I don't know. I kind of want to see him fight one more time, either against like a Kelvin Gastelum, like I said, or a Damian Maia, Matt Brown, Carlos Condit type person.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how he handles it. The Calvin fight might not be a bad fight, actually, when you think about it. Calvin having to move up in weight as well. You know, it would be a good opportunity for both guys to showcase their skill, to test it out. For Calvin, it would be, you know, a good opportunity to step in and not have to fight one of the guys that are ranked, you know, top 5, 10, 15 right off the bat. I know with certain divisions, we've talked about, you know, fighters coming into that division already ranked in the lower division. But where would you guys stack Benson in this division, based off the win with Brandon Thatch and based off his performance the other night?
Okay, what do you mean by that, though?
Would you put him, if he was to turn around and say, this is now my new division, this is where I'm fighting, would you say he's top 5, top 10, top 15, not ranked? Where would you have him stack up?
Excuse me, sorry. That's the first time I sneezed on the internet. I would put him in the top 15 for sure. I will put him just outside the top 10 for the fact that he took in a guy that's been out for a long time and honestly isn't that experienced. If you give Benson a top 10 fighter and he beats him, throw him in the top 10 for sure. But I think Benson's smarter than to think that he's gonna just jump into the 170 division and be okay. Or at least be a contender. I'm not buying this whole him moving up thing. I understand that he didn't have to cut that much weight, and it made him feel better, and it made him perform better and everything. But I just don't buy him, staying at 170.
I think he could be placed right above top 10, maybe at 9 or 8, because I think he could beat a stun gun or a Tarek Safadine. I think he can beat a person like that. So I just want to see him fight one more time in the welterweight division, see how he does, and then we can put him in the rankings. But I think if he even beats a top 15, say anyone in the top 15, you can throw him in the top 10.
Yeah, it would definitely be interesting to see how it all stacks up for him if he were to move into that division permanently. And you never know. He's talked about possibly moving up. He's clearly got to put on a little bit of size, but he does hold a speed advantage over a lot of guys in that division. So it would be pretty interesting to see how that all went and how all that turned out. But anything else that you guys got on this card? Any of the other prelim fights? Any of the other matchups?
I like Neil Magny, Mutasri, or I don't know how the hell it is. Moonwalker, that's his nickname, Moonwalker. Moonwalker, James, he was fun to watch. He did a lot of, he just had a spinning back kick, I think. He had a couple really good knees. So I'm looking for him to get some higher caliber fighters in there and to improve slowly but surely, and we could at least get a really good, exciting fighter out of him. Neil Magny is just being Neil Magny, doing what he does. Benson Henderson impressed me the most out of the whole card, really, though. Yeah, it's kind of my take on the card.
How about Ray Borg?
I like Ray Borg. I like his nickname better, but Ray Borg was freaking dominant. Yeah. He was that was a dominant fight for him. I have to say that. He was really good that day. So, that night. I mean, yeah, he's got a guy with a future. Chris Kalades, that was weird. Him missing weight at first, I think, and then making it later. It was I don't know if that affected him at all. Maybe it might have messed his head up a little bit. But yeah, Ray Borg showed up for sure.
Oh yeah. What about you, Nick?
Yeah, I like the fight that I really enjoyed was watching Efren Escudero come back with a win, and in dominant fashion in that matter. He could have finished the fight against Alima. He could have finished him completely, but he showed that he still can be in the UFC and still fight. And even though he was coming off a four loss losing streak, he can still do it. And I think we can see hopefully a future with him back in the or him in the UFC still, and maybe hopefully get him in that top 15 ranking.
Yeah, and I think we might have lost Eddie there, so we'll move on to Anderson Silva here. It's it's gotta it's gotta come. I don't know how to say it, as a shock. Maybe not so much of a shock, but he failed his January 9th test. He then passed a follow-up test on the 18th, I believe it was, and then right after that, he failed the fight night test for two other products in his system. You're a self-proclaimed Anderson Silva huge fan. What does this mean for you? Because the first one, people were kind of giving him the benefit of the doubt, saying, you know what, maybe he was taking it for his leg, maybe he wanted to make sure he was healed up all the way before getting in there. It was nerves, he fucked up, it happens. He came back clean right after that, so, clearly he wasn't trying to be on anything. And then his fight night test comes back as a failure. You, as a huge Anderson Silva fan, what does this mean to you?
It hurt a lot. Like you said, I was that person that if the out of competition test, I was like, okay, maybe he was taking it for rehab for his leg, and he didn't get off it on time and everything like that. I was 99% sure that post-fight test was going to come back clean, and when it didn't, I was completely shocked. For his career, I think it doesn't kill his career and what he's done in the UFC. I think it just diminishes what happened to him after the leg break. It shows that he was nervous because he did test positive for anxiety medication and insomnia medication as well in that same drug test. So it showed that, one, he was nervous for the fight. Two, he shouldn't have fought Nick Diaz to begin with. If you're that nervous to fight and you're scared to break your leg again, or you're scared to even get back into the cage, then you shouldn't be getting in the cage, and you should have retired after the leg break. Me, as a fan, I think he should have retired after the leg break. I'd rather see him retire off that than retire off him testing positive for 2 different PEDs in 2 different tests. And it hurts his career. It doesn't diminish what he's done in the past. He was the greatest of all time. He did do what he had to do in the past and never tested positive back then. But I think it showed that the nerves had finally got to him, and the pressure of being the greatest of all time got to him, and he ended up cracking and taking performance-enhancing drugs. And it sucks. It hurts, but consequences are going to be made, and I actually really want to see what they are, because he could be kicked out of the UFC. They had the no-tolerance rule. He failed 2 drug tests back-to-back. So if he gets kicked out of the UFC, that's a huge statement for the UFC, but we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, and which one hurt more? The first one that nobody saw coming, or this one? Which one, for you, was more of a shock to the system?
I'd have to say the first one, because it came out I didn't expect him to even be on any supplement or any PEDs at all. The first one, I was really upset. It was funny because I was sitting on the couch just watching TV, and I saw you guys chatting about it, and I thought it was a joke, and then I actually looked it up, and I was depressed that whole rest of the day. I was really upset. So I would say the first one hurt me more, and the second one just was a killer, or was the finisher, but the first one definitely hurt 10 times more.
Now, I know when we get Eddie back, he'll have a completely different point of view, but you already kind of touched on where I wanted to go next, and that was his legacy. You're in strong defense of the fact that this mars this fight and this mars everything post-leg break up until the present, but you think that this has no effect on him previous to the leg break. In other sports, we've seen guys like, for instance, A-Rod. A-Rod was a big, got busted. I don't know. I don't follow baseball 100%, but he basically got caught. And people have gone back and said that his entire career is screwed at this point because he was on steroids. In other sports we've seen this. Lance Armstrong has, yesterday got told he has to give back, I think, like $10 million to sponsors that, were paying him for winning. But his entire legacy is destroyed. But you're saying you don't think that the positive test followed by a clean test followed by a second positive destroys Anderson's credibility, anything prior to the leg break?
It destroys his legacy to the casual fans, to the fans that just watch the big main events, that just watch when he fights. Or it's just for the casual fans. For us, for me personally, I don't think it hurts his career what happened post-leg break or what happened pre-leg break. Everything beyond that was him 100% passed all his drug tests, never tested positive. I think that was his career up until this point right here. So this is what hurts him. I don't think his past will get tarnished by them. And even the UFC said that, look what he's done in the past, and now this is happening. They even have his back. So I think he'll still be in the UFC Hall of Fame no matter what. It's unless he does come back and fight and test positive again. But I don't think he's ever going to come back in the UFC. I think he's done. He's going to retire after these tests come back. But I don't think it hurts his career at all. I think it just hurts him from post leg break.
All right, now Eddie, I know you have a completely different take on this. So what's your take on this whole thing?
All right, so here's the thing about how history works, okay? They always say history is written by the victors and all this other stuff. Well, consider Anderson Silva the loser in this one, because history is going to remember. I'll give you an example, a really, really easy one, all right? With the whole Super Bowl thing with Deflategate and all that crap, even today, there's still, blogs, there's still radio shows, like professional sports radio shows you could drive out, put on your car radio. They're still talking about the damn Deflategate thing. I mean, it's going to stick with the Patriots for a long time, if not forever. They're going to be known as cheaters. Yeah, they won 4 Super Bowls or whatever it was, but they cheated. They're cheaters. That's all they're going to be known as, just cheaters, right? So Barry Bonds will always be known as a HGH steroid user. Anderson Silva, unfortunately, is going to be known as the guy that cheated, and the questions are already coming out, coming back is how long has he been doing it? Do you think he's been doing this whole career? Here's one point that I saw on Twitter earlier this week, is that his body never changed dramatically, ever. Even after these positive tests came out, his body didn't look any different, right? What does that tell you? Very, very. I mean, it gives a little bit of a hint of a suggestion, I guess, that he has been using this whole career, and his body just never changed dramatically. It's very possible. The other thing that people point at is that picture of he did a UFC Cribs type of episode, and somewhere I think he was in a closet, in a walk-in closet or something. There was a pack of needles in the background. That picture's been floating around the internet everywhere since this whole testing came out. Not to mention the 60-year-old trainer that he's best buddies with is jacked to the fucking gills. His muscles have muscles that have muscles. Okay, I mean, this guy. Dude, you don't even have. You can smell the juice, okay? I'm sure you go buy that damn trainer. You know what? I bet if I walk by him, some of the steroids gets into me. That's how fucking juice this guy is. He just seeps steroids everywhere. So, that's the other thing you got to look at. It's his company, and the fact that a lot of Black House athletes have tested positive for other things. They don't seem to be above cheating. All of these factors, to the hardcore fan, to the casual fan, to anybody. You start thinking, you start wondering, has Anderson Silva cheated his whole career? If Anderson's smart, he says, hey, I apologize, I'm sorry for what I did, whether I knew it or not, and he walks away. Because if he comes back and he tries to fight, and he fights completely clean, okay, 100% clean, and he has a terrible fight or a terrible showing, that's gonna look to me. That's like, oh, okay, that's because he's not juiced anymore, And that's part of the view. But look, man, I would love to sit here and tell you that I don't think it's gonna ruin his legacy. I think he destroyed it by not only failing that January 9th test, but failing the pre-fight and the post-fight test. It's Look, it's ridiculous. It sucks from a guy that a lot of people considered a true martial artist, maybe ranked number 2 behind Bruce Lee of true martial artists, and to find out that he cheated at least at the very least in this fight. I think Nick said it a few shows ago. It's pretty heartbreaking.
What do you got there, Nick? Anything to respond back to that?
No, I googled that picture because I actually never seen that picture of in the closet. I can't find a clear picture of it. But no, I still don't think it would like. Are you telling me Kobe Bryant, who did this shit, change his number, did it fuck up his career? No, I don't think it messed up his career. People still talk about it, but he still puts up those numbers and everything like that. I think if he does come back in the UFC and he does win and he comes back clean, will it mess up his career? Will people still talk about it? Yes. They're still going to talk about it. He was juiced, he got lucky, blah, blah, blah. It's going to happen. But for me, and I know for mostly the hardcore fans of him, it's not going to diminish his career. And I know for the UFC, it's probably not going to. They're not going to throw all his wins under the bus and say, oh, no, maybe he was juiced and everything. I know, I saw it. I found it.
All right. So that's basically the picture right there. As you can see, you got the needles in the back. Those are needles used for, I believe, insulin and for steroids of sorts. So that's just the picture I was looking for. Let me find. When I find the picture of his trainer, then I'll show you. It's insanity.
Wasn't that picture on the boxes, one of the things is actually a steroid is listed on the box itself?
It says A something. I couldn't fully make it out.
Because I had heard about the picture, and that's actually the first time I've seen it also. But I was under the impression that it was actually right on there was the name of a steroid that you would be taking, or that he would be taking.
I don't know. I didn't. You know what? Someone actually found what it was and put up a close-up picture of what the name of it was on the box, but I can't find that picture. But still.
All right. So now, Nick, you brought up a point, and I've heard people argue this point back and forth. Does this event prohibit or block Anderson Silva from the UFC Hall of Fame? As contrived and cheesy as as it is, and as Hall of Fames go, but does this block him from being inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame at some point in the future? Nick, I'll start with you because I'm guessing you're going to say no.
No. Look who's in the Hall of Fame right now. You have people that could. You have Mark Coleman in the UFC, and he's come out strict. Holy shit.
Right? Look at this guy.
That dude's like 60 years old.
He's 57 supposedly in the picture, but still. Fuck it. I mean, look at that shit. It's insane. It's fucking insane. It's not real. He looks like dude, come on now. If I could be 57 and look like that, just give me the freaking box of shit I gotta take.
Yep. Crazy.
But have Mark Coleman in the UFC, and he's come out in public and said that he's taken steroids and everything like that. Did the UFC kick him out of the Hall of Fame? No, they haven't. Even how crappy the Hall of Fame is, and it's not that noted, but I don't think it will take him out. The UFC already said that they have his back from his past for his career, so I think he will be in the UFC or UFC Hall of Fame. Like I said, it's just this fight and post-leg break that messed up his career.
Look, man, time heals all wounds, right? And he's not going to get in, once he retires, he's not going to get in the day after. He's not going to get in a year later. It's going to be, I think, a couple years later when people are, start talking about, you remember when Silva, front kick beat Tor in the chin, knocked him the hell out, what he did to Forrest Griffin, the way he won the title from, I believe, Rich Franklin, all that stuff. They'll talk about that again, and he will be in the Hall of Fame without a problem. In fact, I hold out hope that Chael Sonnen will be in the Hall of Fame, but that's a much longer fucking shot. So, but no, Anderson Silva definitely will be in the Hall of Fame for sure.
Now,
unless he goes to Bellator, then they'll pull him like they did Tito.
Yeah, but okay. So, do you think with Vitor Belfort's TRT situation, does that mess up his career for in the past than it does now?
No, and I'll tell you why. Well, I'll tell you why. Sorry, Eddie. Because they were given exemptions at that point. So it was something that they were allowed to do if they applied for an exemption to do so. If he comes back and then gets busted for it, that's different. But by all accounts, he's off of it now. We've yet to see a post-TRTV tour, but these were, this was a substance that they were legally allowed to take by the commissions, at that point. So I don't think that takes anything away because it was legal at the time. So, I understand what you're saying. It was helping them and it was improving their abilities. So it was definitely performance enhancing, but it wasn't against the rules. It was actually, a licensable product that they could take. So I don't think, in my opinion, it takes anything away from it.
Right, and I agree with that. The legality is the issue on that. It was allowed. TRT, you could get a permit from commissions and from everybody else to take it back then until it was made illegal. If Vitor comes in and tries to do it now, then hell yeah, you can start questioning it. But I mean, even before, look, it's just the phrase post TRT Vitor tells you everything you need to know. Because everyone's dividing his career now as TRT Vitor and post TRT Vitor. Now, mind you, I believe he's failed a test before for steroids. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he did. So you got to question everything about him. Look, here's the thing, and this is for me, and I believe a lot of that a lot of fans will probably feel this way. When Anderson Silva came out as positive, my mind went, okay, everyone's cheating. Every single one is cheating. I don't care who it is. When John Fitch came out and tested positive, I'm like, get the fuck out of here. That was the one guy I thought would be clean no matter what you tested him for. I thought that guy would be super clean. Then I saw him do that face-off against Paul Harris for his last fight, and I'm like, whoa, John hit the weight room. What's going on? I thought John and Fitch hit the weight room and had like 6 bowls of Chipotle every single day just to pack on protein pounds, bro. So I was like, wow, Fitch hit the weight room. All right, let's see what happens. And John Fitch still moved like John Fitch, so I was like, wow, he did really good. So when it came out that he tested positive, even I think Rogan in his fight companion was like, I apologize to anyone that I said that John Fitch would never test positive. I was laughing hard because I thought the same thing. I'm like, oh man, that's the one guy. That's one of those guys that I thought would never test positive. And the other one was Anderson Silva. So now the 2 guys that I thought would be like the cleanest in the sport are kind of shot.
Everyone.
You're gonna start thinking everyone's taken, and I don't care who it is. All these fighters coming out on Twitter saying, "Oh, I can't believe everyone's taking it." Hashtag live the clean life. Hashtag fight clean. Hashtag it's time now to clean your piss. No, dude, I can't believe your shit. Because Anderson Silva said the same shit. I think everyone that uses PEDs should never fight again. Use steroids, don't fight again, ever. Well, time to step up and live up to your word, Anderson, because you were talking too much shit, and now you got caught.
Yeah, he got caught, that's for sure, and yesterday was the Nevada State Athletic Commission meeting that, it was disciplinary for certain people. It was preliminary for others. Real quick, Eddie, I know you took the painful time out of your life, the hours that you'll never get back, to watch that so that the rest of us could, go on living productive, happy lives. But give us a quick rundown of what happened at that meeting.
First of all, there was nothing quick about it. I have a newfound hate for Pat Lombard. She brings up the worst questions ever in the history that I've ever. Oh God, no questions. That Bob Brady, whatever his name is a creepy bastard talking about bringing in first graders to teach him how to use iPads and shit or whatever it was. I'm like, what kind of freak are you, fucking weirdo? Francisco Aguilar is the most annoying bastard I ever met. I'm not even talking about the fighters yet either. But Francisco Aguilar is an annoying bastard. I can't stand that guy. Look, the weirdest thing is, I go a lot by gut feeling, all right? I trust my instincts and I go a lot by gut feeling. And I see all these people sitting on a table and the word corruption spelled out right over their faces. It just seems so gross to even watch, right? So anyway, I did waste fucking 3 hours of my life watching these retards make decisions about the well-being, about the livelihoods of a bunch of fighters. But they started off, the first thing was what? These guys develop a chip to put in boxing gloves right around the wrist area to measure punch power and speed. And oh, that Murnell guy, is it Murnell, the former baseball player that got pissed off about roids because he couldn't make the majors because he couldn't use them, or he didn't use them. Unfortunately, in baseball, it was the best juicers that got to the major leagues. It wasn't really the best player. So anyway, this guy's super anti-juice. Anyway, he started bringing up the dumbest freaking points ever. It was just so irritating to see how stupid all these people are. I'm not saying stupid as in like, you know, intellectually or intelligently. They're intelligent people, clearly, you know. But as far as the sport goes, I mean, you could put, look, man, you could put 5 Arahawanis, and this is saying something. You could put 5 Arahawanis, and as long as you have a Luke Thomason there leading them, they could run the NSAC way better than these idiots, all right? Straight up. So, and that's saying a lot because Home One is a retard too. So, then after that, they talked about iPads and computers, and if their judges could figure this out. Mind you, they spent at least an hour and a half total on these 2 dumbass issues, okay? Then they denied a boxer his license because he got knocked out a bunch, which was a good move. You don't want to send a guy that's have multiple concussions back into the ring. That's dumb. And then they gave a couple guys their licenses. Oh, the other thing, the first thing they did of interest, and it was barely any interest, was not overturn that fight between Francisco
Rivera.
Rivera, there you go, Rivera and Uriah Faber. But it was just a hilarity of errors or just ridiculous moves. First of all, they couldn't get Rivera on the phone because he didn't know how to call or didn't know how to get in on the line. And then Faber gets on there, and Faber starts talking over everybody, which is hilarious to me. But so they decided not to overturn it for whatever reason. It's like because the ref didn't see it, so it didn't happen, basically. All right, so then they moved on, and they said a bunch of other crap, just dumb stuff left and right. And then finally they get to I think they went to, I believe they went to Diaz first.
Diaz first.
Yeah, it was Diaz, then Anderson, then Lombard, and then Ashley Evans Smith. And so, yeah, dude, they literally spent a total of 5 minutes on those 3 guys to just temporarily suspend them. This is what the commission does. They temporarily suspend somebody and they kick the can down the street instead of or down the road instead of doing actual work. And then they suspend Ashley Evans Smith for 9 months and they fine her. I think it was 20%. So I believe she was fined like $2,400 or something like that out of $8,000 that she won. First of all, she fought, I believe, on late notice. All right, and she made $8,000, and you just took away $2,000 of it. Believe me, ever since that fight, it was a while ago. Since that fight, I guarantee that $8,000 has been spent. So I don't know how they're gonna get that money. But overall, the feeling I got from that meeting was that they're just a bunch of incompetent idiots. It's just ridiculous. They need to replace everyone in there that's over 40, like that's at least over 45. Okay, because they all still hold the boxing standard. You know what I mean? And I don't know, man. To me, it just seems so gross. Just the whole panel's gross. And again, Pat Lombard, man, someone needs to shut her the fuck up, in the nicest way possible.
Of course. Nick,
So,
did
yeah.
you go ahead.
No, that's it. Go ahead, Nick. You got something on this?
Yeah,
you want to get in on shitting on the NSAC like I am right now? Cause fuck them.
Listen, before Nick gets in on that, I just want to take a step back, a timeout. Eddie was throwing around the word retard a lot. It's not we don't want to call compare the commission to people that are retarded because we don't want to be rude to the retarded people. So, but we don't want to piss off the retards by having them think that they're being compared to the commission over there. So, but Nick, what were you gonna say?
No, okay, so I did watch some of it. I started watching at the Rivera, and there's a whistler too on call that kept fucking whistling over and over.
Yeah, who the fuck was that?
And they had to mute the mic, and then when someone had to press *6 to talk, all you hear is a whistler again. It was ridiculous. It was a freaking circus show. That's all it was. Yeah. So we got Diaz temporarily suspended till next hearing. Anderson temporarily suspended till next hearing. Evan Smith suspended 9 months, and what'd you say? 80% of a purse.
20%. It was like
20% of
It was 30%, $2,400 out of the $8,000 that she won.
God damn.
It's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. But it was ridiculous. All that stuff, in the beginning, the little chips and everything can be held on till the end. Let's get to the fighters. Let's get to everything else that I have to address, and then I can turn it off, and then you can talk about the chips and shit. I don't care about the chips unless they're actually putting them into UFC gloves and we get to see punching power people. That's cool and all, but save that shit for the end, and let's get to the serious shit first. Because in the next meeting, if they have the Nick Diaz, Anderson Silva, and that to wait 2.5 hours, and they spend what, a total of 10 minutes on each person, that's going to piss me off. I just want it should be in the front to handle their business, and then I can turn it off and deal with everything else.
Yeah, what I'm going to do from now on is just watch Twitter until someone says, okay, next up is so-and-so, because, MMA Junkie, they always send John Morgan or I think I forgot who he writes for, but Jeremy Botter's always going to those things. I'm just gonna watch their Twitter feeds. They can waste their time going to that shit. I'm just gonna wait till the issues come up that I even care about. But dude, those meetings are so ridiculous. And look, coming from a guy, look, I used to be a legit journalist when right out of college. I used to cover city council meetings and stuff, and it's the most dull garbage you can do. Not to mention in the small-ish city that I was in. It's ridiculous, but even those are more entertaining than what the Nevada State Athletic Commission deals with. So it's all ridiculous, man. They're a circus. But as far as by the way, and I want to clear it up, as far as the word retard goes, okay, we're not using it in the negative connotation, saying that anyone's mentally challenged whatsoever. It's in the I don't know, and we probably shouldn't. Let's just clear it up. The word retard isn't a medical term anymore. At least I don't think it's used as a medical term anymore. It used to be, but not anymore. Now it's a term that comedians use for stupid people. So that's all I gotta say about that.
No, there's nothing.
But
there's nothing really to say about that.
Even in the meeting, we had a child support case on this. Like, do we really care about this? No, it's just I don't know. It's ridiculous.
It's all crazy, man.
Yeah, but it's just like anything. They're gonna save the big draw, the big thing till the end. So you got to sit through all the minutia. Otherwise, that's their time to shine. That's their opportunity to sit in the spotlight, so to speak. But following that event yesterday, the UFC held a press conference that scheduled today in regards to their performance-enhancing drug policy. Eddie, what did you hear and what did you gather about this?
All right, so this is what I thought was, and I was glad this one actually, was decent. We actually learned something, because overall, I was bracing myself for another garbage, this BS little thing. But the UFC seems to be very, very serious about cleaning up the sport. Finally, I mean, as soon as Dana White, I think it was Lorenzo that said they're talking about like 2 to 4 year bans for testing positive for PEDs. I mean, everyone's jaw dropped. You had people actually using exclamation marks on freaking Twitter more than I do, and I use them a shit ton. But people like guys that were in the freaking meeting were like, "Holy crap! He just said 2 to 4 years. Oh, I can't believe it." That's the step we were looking for. If we legitimately want to clean up the sport, make it not worth it. Make it take time away from your career. Imagine if let's say you're 26 years old, you're a fighter, and you're in your prime, and you get popped. And depending on whatever guidelines they use, whether they're going to give you 2 or 4 years of suspension, you could lose your prime. All right, it's like when Muhammad Ali was boxing. Remember when he refused to be inducted into the Vietnam War? Basically, he refused to be drafted on I forgot, it was a religious grounds. I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember. I wasn't alive then, but whatever. They put him in, they basically banned him from boxing for like 3 years. They took away the rest of his prime. Okay, you can take and that is a different issue. That's a civil rights issue, and he absolutely did the right thing by standing up and saying, I'm not going to go kill people for no reason. But moving away from that to a steroid issue, to a cheating issue, you're going to think about it now. Just like Dana White said. Dana White said it during the press conference. Fighters that make a couple $1 million. They'll be like, I'll risk it. What are they going to do? Suspend me for 9 months? Fine me a little bit of money. I still made $2 million. I'm not starving. I'll be fine. I'll just wait on my 9 months, fight again, get another $2 million or whatever, right? Now it's not going to be worth it. because the first time you can get 2 years off. Okay, and you're not making, a lot of these guys aren't making $2 million because the UFC said they want to test all 500 plus of their fighters on fight night. You know, basically the night of the fight they're gonna test them all. That way everybody's clean. Here's the thing. It sounds really good. It sounds like a great plan. It sounds like they're finally getting off their asses and doing something about it. But with the UFC, I have always been a wait and see kind of guy. I need to see if they're actually going to do something. I need to see it in action, put it in action. I want to see people get suspended because, believe me, there are some of those arrogant assholes that are going to be like, I'm not going to get caught. I'm going to do it anyway. And then they're going to get caught. I want to see somebody get caught. I want to see the system actually work. So, look, it's a great step. They said all the right things. If it's implemented and it actually gets put in and worked out and all that, it could get GSP back in the sport. But I'm in a wait and see I'm in a wait and see mode because I want to see if the UFC actually does it. Now I know Nick watched it too, man. What do you think of it?
They're going in the right. They have the right flow going. The 2 to 4 years is awesome. I like that. Like you said, it kills fighters' primes. It can end their career too. Mm-hmm. Now, the thing that I'm tired of is this out of competition, in a competition testing. You're a UFC fighter. You're a pro MMA fighter. There's no out of competition. There's no off season like NFL and NBA and Major League Baseball. There's no off season. You're always training. You're always like that. So the out of competition test gives them a right to go in front of the athletic commission and say, hey, yeah, I tested positive, but I was out of competition, so I don't want this 2 years. Knock it down to a year. It gives them that little edge to fight it. And I don't like that. I think it should be just you're always in competition. If you fail, you're suspended 2 to 4 years automatically. You shouldn't give them the little chance to even fight it. And for any performance-enhancing drug. And what they should address, too, is actual recreational use, too. I think they should have used that. They brought up John Jones's cocaine test coming out, and I think they should put a suspension on that, too, out of competition and in a competition, as they like to say. If a fighter's using cocaine, let's do that. Fuck it. You need to make a statement, make the biggest statement that you can possible so all the fighters are clean 100%. If they do marijuana, let them do it on their off time. If they do, fine them. If they do cocaine, fine them. You have to do it all the damn time now. So I like this step that they're going with the PEDs. It's about damn time. So now we have, and then also they announced that Robbie Lawler will fight Rory McDonald. Finally. Thank you. Jesus, I've been waiting for that fight. So let's see what happens with that. But I like the way that they're going with it. I love that they said 4 years because that is the ultimate punishment, and it will stop the PED use in the UFC.
Yeah, and I'm kind of with you, Eddie. This is definitely like, it sounds great. Let's wait and see until a big star gets popped, until one of their not saying it's true, but just putting it out there. What happens if Anthony Pettis gets popped? They're gonna knock him out for 2 to 4 years. Yep. What happens if one of their big stars, John Jones, comes back, does it again? What happens then? So it's definitely going to be interesting. It's definitely a wait and see attitude and approach that has to be taken with this. I am very happy that they announced the Rory McDonald Robbie Law fight, one that was taken away from him, given to him, taken away from him, given somebody else, and then that fell through. So this has been a long process for him. This has been something that he's deserved and he earned, based on what they told him to do and what he did. And they kind of played with him a little bit on it, but it'll be nice to see him finally step in. And I think he's got a great opportunity to take that belt. And I'm sure that we'll talk more about that as we get closer to that event. I believe it was July. Is that what they said? July
11th, International Fight Week, man. If you can make it. By the way, that card, holy shit, God, that card. McGregor and Aldo and Lawler McDonald. I'm going to try and go to this shit. I'm going to save up money right now, get myself some decent seats, splurge, run up some more credit card debt, whatever. I got to get down there to watch this shit.
Yeah.
First bowl, the first lower bowl. Don't go to the floor.
No, don't go to the floor.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, you can't see shit. I'm not tall enough. I'm looking over people like, what the hell's happening up there? That lower bowl is the spot to be, no doubt about that.
And then I kind of want to bring this up because it was a stupid question that was brought up. What if a fighter does test positive for PEDs? Do you take the title away from him?
Absolutely, you have to.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Sit a guy for 2 years and tell him when he comes back he's still the champ?
Yeah, exactly. I forgot who asked that question. I was like, are you joking? Is that even a question?
It was probably the girl who asked the questions at Invicta, because she asked some pretty dumb questions.
Dude.
So I can't.
You know what? And bless her, she's a beautiful girl, and she's just great and gorgeous, and I'm sure she's smart. She's not a fight. She shouldn't be out there questioning fighters about fighting. She should be questioning something else, maybe doing some real journalistic work. But yeah, I know you're talking about the Invicta chick. I said hi to her when I was in Houston.
Oh, that's right. I remember that. But so we have an event this weekend. Is it Sunday night? This event is that
Yeah,
it's
Sunday
a weird
night.
card. This event, which it's taking place 8 o'clock. It's going to be in Brazil. So there's a lot of names on the card that I can't pronounce. So Eddie, you have the fight card pulled up in front of you?
Give me a second to screen share here so our viewers can see it. But so this is what we're looking at here. Starting off in the early Fight Pass prelims at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. And keep in mind it's Sunday, so get out of church as soon as you can, because I know that stuff can run quick or long. Ivan Jorge against Josh Shockley. By the way, Shockley just looks like a hippie. Like, I can't help it. He just looks like a weird stoner hippie. So, whatever. And then Cody Gibson take it on Douglas Silva de Andrade. That's going to do it for Fight Pass prelims. In the Fox Sports 1 prelim, starting off at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, first fight on that prelims is going to be Wendell Oliveira against TJ Wahlberger with the dumbest nickname in my opinion, the modern day warrior. What do we freaking play Call of Duty? Stupid. Then moving on to Thiago Trader against Mike De La Torre, El Cucuy. El Cucuy is basically the boogeyman in Spanish, but I like that nickname. But this actually should be a pretty fun fight right here. Then I like this guy right here, William Macario Patolinos is a fun fighter to watch. And they're putting him against a guy, Matt Dwyer, who is 100% KO. His wins all come by knockout. So it should be a good one. Then I'm actually pretty excited for this fight. If you remember, Mary Reneau defeated Alexis Dufresne in her first fight, and that got Alexis cut. So
yeah, she's the one that Dana actually apologized to her because he told her she was too old to be on The Ultimate Fighter, but came out and beat the shit out of the girl for the entire fight. That's the one I told you guys Joe Rogan was actually yelling at the end of the fight to stop the fight.
Yeah, I remember that. And then and she's taking on a killer, man, Jessica Andrade, ranked number 10 in the bantamweight division. Should be a very fun fight. Really happy that this is going to be on FS1. The whole card's on FS1, by the way, so you don't have to pay for any of this. But Jessica Andrade was fun to watch, and putting it against a girl like Marion should be a good one for sure. All right, and then the first fight on the main card, starting off at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Santiago Ponzinibbio, whatever, taking on Sean Strickland. After that, Yuri Alcantara against Frankie Sainz. I like Alcantara. I'm a big fan of his. Then here's a good one. Rustam Khabilov taking on Adriano Martins. That's going to be a good fight for sure. Smiling Sam Alvey taking on Cesar Ferreira. I forgot what Aaron said. He made a joke about the jock against the douchebag or something like that. I forgot. He did it yesterday on Keyboard Warriors, but I had to go back and listen to it. But here's the fight that I'm looking forward to. This is what I'm calling the real main event, and we'll come back to it. Edson Barbosa taking on Michael Johnson. Two legit strikers. Edson Barbosa, a very exciting striker. We've seen him do like Nick Diaz says, we're doing spinning shit now. That's all Edson Barbosa does is spinning shit. Should be a fun way to go. Michael Johnson is very capable striker himself. I don't think this one goes to the ground. I could see them canceling each other out a little bit, and maybe going to the ground a bit. But I think Edson Barbosa is going to be, I think he's going to show up to fight in his home country. But in the main event, we get what I call a weird fight. And Antonio Bigfoot Silva against Frank Mir. Antonio has lost either 2 or 3 fights in a row, and Frank Mir is on a 4-fight losing streak. In fact, Frank Mir has not won a fight since beating Nogueira in 2011. Okay, that's 4 years ago. This is you could easily make a case that this is going to be either guy's last fight in the UFC. because of health, because of age, and because of the fight streak. So overall, look, again, it's a free card. You always get pretty good surprises on this free card. Again, on this card, I recommend the Andrade fight. I recommend the Patolino fight for sure. I recommend the Barbosa fight and the Alcantara fight as well. But every other one, it's like, okay, let's see what happens. But definitely, look, man, it's free MMA. I can never complain about free MMA.
Yeah, and from what I understand, and I didn't look it up earlier, this is the first time a main event is being held between two guys that are on at least a 3-loss streak, or 3-fight losing streak. Nogueira is on a 3-fight losing streak. Mir's on a 4-fight losing streak. So this is definitely a very interesting main event. This is clearly just a name value main event because the Silva's on the card, and this is taking place in Brazil. But real quick, let's do a rundown of the odds. We'll start at the bottom and work our way up with the favorites. Jorge and Shockley, who's the favorite here? Nick?
Okay, hold on. I'm going Jorge.
I'm going Jorge as well.
Jorge is a -215. Shockley's a +185.
Wow, really?
Silva de Andrade versus Gibson. Eddie?
De Andrade.
Yeah, Andrade.
Gibson is the favorite, a -250. Wow. Andrade is a +210. Oliveira and Waldberger.
I'm gonna take Oliveira.
I'm gonna take Wahlberg.
Oliveira is a -130. Waldberger is a +110.
That's
the next fight. Yeah, that's pretty close. The next fight is Trator. There's actually no line on that. It's a pick'em fight. So that one is flip a coin and that's what you got. Macario versus Dwyer.
Macario for sure.
Macario.
-290. Dwyer is a +250. Andrade and Renaud.
Andrade, man, she's a killer.
I'm pretty sure it's Andrade, but I'm gonna go Renaud.
Yeah, no, you should have went with Andrade. -230, +195 for Renaud. Ponzinibbio versus Strickland.
I'm gonna go with Santiago. I think he's gonna get it.
Who the fuck's Santiago? That's Ponzinibbio? Okay.
I agree.
What do you think, Nick?
I agree.
All right. Strickland is a -180. Ponzinibbio is a +155.
It's like whoever made the odds forgot this is going down in Brazil. If this
in Brazil, exactly.
Get the hell out of here,
The biggest split of the night, Alcantara and Sainz.
Alcantara for sure.
Alcantara is a -370. Sainz is a +305. Hobbyloff and Martins.
Hobbyloff, no question about it.
Yeah, Hobbyloff.
Hobbyloff is a -330 to Martins +270. Ferreira and Alvi.
I'm gonna go Ferreira.
I'm going Alvi.
Ferreira is -270. Alvi is a +230.
Nick, we're in Brazil, son. We're in Brazil.
I think Alvi can pull it off, man. I like him as a fighter. I think he could do it, man. I don't care if it's in Brazil.
Yeah. He better finish him. He better finish him.
I think he'll knock him out in Brazil and then get stabbed probably after the fight.
Yeah, he better run. He's the whitest guy on the card. That dude better be on the bus 2 seconds after he wins that fight. Right?
That's it. Edison Barboza and Michael Johnson.
Bosa.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Barbosa on that one.
It's close. It's -135 Barbosa, a +115 for Johnson, and for the Silva Mir fight, Mir is in. It's funny. Don't even bother. Mir is a +250. Silva is no line right now. So yeah. So I don't know. It's even money, I guess, for Silva. I'm not really sure how that works when there's no line on one guy and a line on the other, but those are the odds for this weekend's event.
Did we just freeze at the end here?
I think we're freezing at the end.
Anything else?
John, you're a little choppy, dude. You're kind of freezing on us.
Did we? Is that what happened?
A little bit. Yeah. You're good now, I think. Maybe. Or not. You gotta love the internet, man.
It's my internet. That's what sucks.
That's alright, dude. Alright. What's up, John, or no? John, you there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Am I breaking up?
No, you're good now. I think you're back.
All right. Anything you guys want to touch on before we wrap this up?
Other than fuck the NSAC, no, nothing. Wait, time out. We gotta make that T-shirt. That's gotta be a T-shirt.
Fuck
Like
NSAC.
you ever seen those Run DMC or the Run JRE shirts? We gotta make that just fuck NSAC, and I just want to wear it to one of their meetings, get kicked out for it. Because then first of all, I'll be on Fight Pass.
Now?
Huh?
Isn't it the NAC now?
I don't
So
know
it works
what
even better.
Yeah, even better. You save money on the letter, so fuck it.
Yeah.
Go over there, get on Fight Pass. You see, thousands of people see you because there's thousands of fucking idiots like me watching that shit. All right, and I'll be famous for a day. They'll be on Twitter like hashtag that one dude that got kicked the fuck out.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. So that's going to be the end of episode 42 of 5 Rounds with John and Eddie, presented by CrossBones MMA Radio. Remember to go to CrossBones MMA for all of your MMA news, crossbonesmma.com, and hit the store and affiliates page for links to Onnit, NatureBox, F3 Foods, DraftKings, Troxfin, and right on the main page is our link to Amazon. Remember to hit those guys up. Use the bonus code CrossBonesMMA, and remember when you shop on Amazon to go through the CrossBones MMA website to do that. I am at MMA John G. He is at Elaw31. Nick is at NickXMicro. The whole website is at CrossBones MMA. We have at CBMMA_Don and at SPWAT1983. That is Don and Jesse. You guys are reading their work on the site, so make sure you hit them up with a follow as well. But we will be back on Saturday getting ready for Sunday's event where we go a little bit more in depth with this coverage as well as talking about whatever happened between now and then. But until then, keep your head up and we'll be watching out for all the hottest news stories to bring to you. Later.
Later.